Hello, it's Chris Worden. Today's video is titled, How Can a Business Failure End Up in Bankruptcy? So listen, if you enjoy our content, please please subscribe to the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to give you some examples where a business failing can actually end up in a director becoming made bankrupt, because it's a question on many people's mind, especially when the business starts to hit the skids. So first of all, what's bankruptcy? Well, bankruptcy is a personal state. It's a personal state of insolvency, and it occurs when an individual cannot repay the debts. Now, the link between business failure and personal bankruptcy, it can be a little bit blurred, because if you've got a limited company, okay, Chris Worden Limited, okay, is not the same as Chris Worden. It is protected by limited liability structure. But in some scenarios, the failure of that limited company, Chris Worden Limited, could result in Chris Worden being made bankrupt. And it's things like personal guarantees, it's things like claims from insolvency practitioners after they've been liquidated for misfeasance, overdrawn directors' loan accounts, nicking all the business's assets, that type of thing. Now, sole traders and partnerships. So let's say you're out there and you I know my name, so I'll use that. I'm Chris Worden and I'm a brickie. I'm not limited. I go out there every week and, I've got my van, Chris Worden Bricklaying Limited. Now, when you're a sole trader or a partnership, there's no legal distinction between personal and business finances. So a sole trader, if it racks up loads of debt to the HMRC, loads of debt to suppliers, really, the business debt actually translates into a personal debt. So if you're a sole trader or a partnership out there, you've not got the protection of the limited liability that limited company directors have. Now, like I say, in general, a limited company's debts don't follow a director when the company becomes liquidated. And liquidation is, like, if you will, the business term for bankruptcy. It's an insolvent, a business that becomes insolvent gets liquidated, goes into insolvency. A person that becomes insolvent ends up in bankruptcy, okay? Now, directors can be made bankrupt if, like I said before, they've signed a personal guarantee. And when going into liquidation, the person, supplier or institution that's lent them the money and asked for the personal guarantee tries to recover the money, and the director doesn't make any moves to pay the money back. Eventually, that could end up in a bankruptcy. Remember, most people who you've signed a personal guarantee with will do a deal. They want to get paid. You might have to restructure the loan. But in some cases, and if you don't get a deal done, you could be made personally bankrupt. Another reason a director could be made personally bankrupt after their company is liquidated from the business failure is, let's say they've got a huge overdrawn director's loan account. An overdrawn director's loan, remember, is when a director owes the company money, goes into liquidation, and then the appointed liquidator goes, "Excuse me, Mr. Worden, you owe 10, 15, £100,000 on an overdrawn loan account. How are you going to pay it?" Now, let's say that director does not comply, buries his head in the sand, or sticks two fingers up to the insolvency practitioner. That is a scenario where that director could be made personally bankrupt by the liquidator. Another reason and scenario that a director could be made personally bankrupt after a business failure is if the insolvency practitioner finds some wrongdoing. They've nicked all the money out of the company. They've traded fraudulently. They've sold assets out of the company cheap. It's called an transaction under value. These are all misfeasance claims that an insolvency practitioner could, if they choose, make the director personally liable. And if they don't get anywhere making the director personally liable, they could make the director bankrupt. So, what is the impact of bankruptcy on business owners? Well, the bankruptcy, it can it can restrict an individual's ability to manage a business or start another business while they're in that bankruptcy term. It obviously has a major impact on a director's credibility. If you are made bankrupt, you're not going to be able to get as much as a packet of fags on tick for the foreseeable future. So one of the ways to avoid personal bankruptcy is really just to keep business finances and personal finances separate, especially if you're a sole trader or a partnership. Try and avoid personal guarantees, and if you're going to sign a personal guarantee, be well aware of what you're signing. And what I see is a lot of people who sign personal guarantees, they sign it when things are going good, because at that point they cannot imagine that the business starts to hit the skids. Obviously, I get it though. I get the phone calls when the business has hit the skids, and now they've got these personal guarantees breathing down the neck. So just think about how would you pay back that personal guarantee if your business fails. It's really, really important that if your business is in debt, you reach out and take advice early. I want to end on this. I don't work with anyone other than limited company directors. So if you're a sole trader watching this, or you're a partnership that's watching this, I am not the guy for you, but there are some fabulous companies out there. Make sure you check their Trustpilot reviews before you give them a call. Okay, so key takeaways. If you start to struggle paying your debts on time, seek advice early. The earlier you seek advice, the more options will be available to you or your business. I hope you found the video helpful. If it's not, please don't put a comment. But if it is, please let us know or ask us any further questions. And if you've got a question around insolvency that you'd like me to answer, please let us know. Thanks for your time.